The Milkmaid and Her Pail, an African folktale prologue in a small village nestled within the vast savanna of Africa, where the golden grasses swayed gently under the watchful gaze of towering baobab trees, there lived a young girl named Zawadi. Zawadi was known throughout her village for her kind heart and industrious nature. Her family, like many others, relied on the bountiful gifts of their livestock, and Zawadi's daily task was to milk the family's prized cow, Nyota. Nyota was no ordinary cow. She was known for her rich, creamy milk that provided nourishment and sustenance to Zawadi's family. Each morning, Zawadi would rise before the sun, the first light of dawn guiding her to the cow shed where Nyota resided. There, in the cool, dim light of early morning, Zawadi would sit with her pail and begin the rhythmic task of milking, her mind often wandering to dreams of a brighter future. The dream and particularly crisp morning, Zawadi's mother called her into the small, mud-walled kitchen. "Zawadi," she said, her voice warm and gentle, "today, we have a special task for you. We need you to take a full pail of milk to the market. If you can sell it, we will have enough money to buy seeds for the new planting season." Zawadi's heart swelled with excitement. This was an important responsibility, and she knew the success of the task could mean a better future for her family. She quickly gathered her things and made her way to Nyota. As she milked, she imagined all the wonderful things that could come from selling the milk. With the pail now full and brimming with creamy milk, Zawadi set off towards the village market. The path to the market was a long one, winding through the grassy plains, past the wide, meandering river, and under the shade of ancient acacia trees. As Zawadi walked, she began to daydream about the possibilities that lay ahead. The daydream, "If I can sell this milk," Zawadi thought, "we will have enough money to buy seeds. We can plant millet and sorghum, and when the harvest comes, we will have more than enough food." Her thoughts continued to spin a web of dreams. "With the extra money from selling our crops, we could buy a new dress for Mama, and maybe even some colorful beads for myself." Zawadi's mind wandered further, envisioning herself at the market, selling the milk, buying seeds, and eventually saving enough to buy a few chickens. "With chickens, we could have eggs to sell and to eat," she mused. "And maybe, just maybe, one day I could buy a goat. Goats provide milk and meat. We would be well off then. I could even start a small business." Her dreams grew larger with each step she took, her pace quickening with the excitement of her thoughts. "Perhaps, with the money from the chickens and the goat, I could buy a little plot of land. I could build a small house for myself and my family. We would no longer have to worry about the rains washing away our home." As her thoughts soared higher and higher, Zawadi began to feel the weight of the pail on her head. She was so lost in her dreams that she didn't notice the small rock in her path. In a single moment, her foot caught on the rock, and she stumbled. The pail wobbled, and before she could catch it, it tumbled to the ground, spilling all the precious milk into the dusty earth. The listened Zawadi stared in horror at the puddle of milk soaking into the ground. Her dreams evaporated as quickly as the milk disappeared into the thirsty soil. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she sank to her knees, feeling the weight of her failure pressed down on her shoulders. She knew the milk could not be recovered, and with it went all the dreams she had woven along the way. After a few moments of despair, Zawadi felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. She looked up to see an old woman, her face lined with years of wisdom and kindness. "Child," the woman said softly, "why do you weep?" Zawadi explained what had happened, her voice trembling with the weight of her disappointment. The old woman listened patiently, nodding her head. When Zawadi finished, the woman spoke. "My dear, dreams are important, but they must be balanced with attention to the present. It is good to dream and plan for the future, but we must also be mindful of each step we take along the way. You were so focused on what might be that you forgot to pay attention to what is." Zawadi wiped her tears and nodded, understanding the wisdom in the woman's words. "Thank you, grandmother," she said. "I will remember this lesson." The return with a heavy heart but a new resolve, Zawadi picked up her empty pail and began the long walk back home. She felt a mix of sadness and determination, vowing to be more mindful in the future. As she walked, she reflected on the old woman's words and how she could apply them to her life. When she arrived back at the village, her mother saw her empty pail and the sorrow in her eyes. "What happened, Zawadi?" she asked gently. Zawadi recounted the events of the day, including her encounter with the old woman. Her mother listened carefully, then embraced her. "It's all right, Zawadi. We all make mistakes, and we all learn from them. What matters is that you have learned a valuable lesson today." Zawadi nodded, feeling a sense of comfort in her mother's words. She knew that while she had lost the milk, she had gained something far more valuable: wisdom, a new beginning. Next day, Zawadi woke with the dawn, ready to face her tasks with renewed focus. She carefully milked Nyota, ensuring not a drop was wasted. With the pail full once more, she set off towards the market, her mind clear and her steps steady. As she walked, she allowed herself to dream again, but this time she balanced her dreams with careful attention to the path before her. She arrived at the market without incident and sold the milk, just as she had planned. The money she earned was enough to buy seeds for the new planting season, and a small piece of fabric for her mother. Zawadi returned home with a light heart, knowing that she had taken a step towards her dreams while staying grounded in the present. She understood now that achieving her goals would require both vision and mindfulness, and she was ready to embrace both. Epilogue. Years passed, and Zawadi's diligence and newfound wisdom bore fruit. The seeds she bought grew into a bountiful harvest, which she and her family sold at the market. With the profits, they bought chickens, which provided eggs to eat and sell. Eventually, Zawadi was able to buy a goat, just as she had dreamed. Through hard work and careful planning, Zawadi's dreams began to take shape. She never forgot the lesson of the milkmaid and her pail, and she passed this wisdom on to others in her village. She taught them to dream big, but to always keep their eyes on the path ahead. In time, Zawadi became a respected elder in her village, known for her wisdom and kindness. She built a small house for her family and started a business that provided for them and the community. The growth as Zawadi's small business flourished, she became a source of inspiration for many in her village. People would come to her seeking advice on various matters, and she always welcomed them with an open heart. She shared her knowledge freely, helping others learn from her experiences and avoid the mistakes she had made. Zawadi's business grew beyond her initial dreams. She expanded her farm, incorporating more crops and livestock. With the success of her endeavors, she was able to employ villagers, providing them with stable incomes and a sense of purpose. Her farm became a communal project, where everyone worked together and shared in the benefits. One day, a young girl named Amina came to Zawadi. She was about the same age Zawadi had been when she first spilled the milk. Amina's eyes shone with the same eager hope and dreams that Zawadi once had. "Mama Zawadi," Amina said, addressing her respectfully, "I want to learn from you. I want to help my family, just as you have helped yours." Zawadi saw herself in Amina and felt a deep sense of responsibility. She agreed to mentor the young girl, teaching her everything she had learned over the years. She showed Amina how to balance her dreams with mindfulness, emphasizing the importance of taking each step carefully and thoughtfully. The challenging years went by, and the village thrived, largely thanks to the efforts and wisdom of Zawadi and those she had mentored. However, not all days were filled with sunshine and prosperity. One year, a severe drought struck the land. The once lush Savannah turned dry and barren, and the river, which had always flowed generously, shrank to a trickle. The drought tested the village's resilience and Zawadi's leadership. Crops withered, and the livestock grew thin. The villagers looked to Zawadi for guidance, trusting in her wisdom to lead them through this difficult time. Zawadi knew that they needed to come together and support one another more than ever. She called a village meeting, gathering everyone under the shade of the largest baobab tree. "My friends," she began, "we face a great challenge. The drought has taken much from us, but it has not taken our spirit or our ability to work together. We must conserve what we have and share it wisely. We must also seek new ways to sustain ourselves until the rains return. Zawadi proposed several initiatives to help the village survive the drought. She suggested digging a communal well to access groundwater, planting drought-resistant crops, and creating a system for sharing food and resources equitably among all families. The villagers embraced her ideas and worked tirelessly to implement them. The triumph despite the harsh conditions, the village managed to persevere. The communal well provided much-needed water, and the drought-resistant crops, though not as abundant as the usual harvest, helped keep hunger at bay. The villagers' cooperation and Zawadi's leadership allowed them to weather the drought with resilience and unity. When the rains finally returned, the village rejoiced. The parched land drank deeply, and life began to blossom once more. The river swelled, and the fields turned green. The villagers celebrated with songs and dances, grateful for the end of the drought and the return of abundance. Zawadi, now an elder with silver hair and a heart full of wisdom, stood amidst the celebrations, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. She thought of the spilled milk from her youth and how that moment of failure had been the catalyst for a life of learning and growth. She understood that every challenge, no matter how daunting, held within it the seeds of opportunity and transformation. The legacy Zawadi's story and the lessons she had learned were passed down through generations. The tale of the milkmaid and her pail became a cornerstone of the village's cultural heritage, a story that parents told their children to teach them the value of mindfulness and the power of dreams. Amina, the young girl Zawadi had mentored, grew up to be a wise and capable leader in her own right. She continued Zawadi's legacy, mentoring the next generation and ensuring that the village remained prosperous and united. Amina's leadership was a testament to the enduring impact of Zawadi's teachings. Zawadi's farm continued to thrive, becoming a symbol of what could be achieved through hard work, community, and balance. The village prospered, not just in material wealth but in the richness of its collective spirit and the strength of its bonds. The community garden, the livestock, and the well all stood as reminders of the power of unity and the importance of planning for the future while attending to the present. The wisdom of the ancestors. In the evenings, under the star-studded African sky, the villagers would gather around the fire to share stories. Elders recounted tales of their ancestors, weaving in the story of Zawadi, the milkmaid, and her pail. Children listened with wide eyes, absorbing the wisdom and values embedded in the stories. One such evening, Zawadi, now very old, sat by the fire with the children gathered around her. Her voice, though frail, carried the strength of her experiences and the warmth of her heart. "Remember, my dear ones," she said, "it is good to dream and to have big ambitions. But never forget to be mindful of the steps you take. Every journey is made up of many small steps, and each one is important." She looked at Amina, now an adult and a leader, and smiled. "And never forget the power of community. Alone, we may stumble and fall, but together, we can overcome any challenge." Conclusion: Zawadi's life was a testament to the power of resilience, wisdom, and community. Her story, which began with the simple task of carrying a pail of milk, grew into a legend that shaped the lives of many. The lessons she learned and shared helped her village thrive and created a legacy that would endure for generations. The tale of Zawadi, the milkmaid, and her pail became more than just a story. It became a guiding light, a reminder that dreams must be balanced with mindfulness, that every step counts, and that the strength of a community lies in its unity and shared purpose. In the heart of Africa, where the golden grasses of the Savannah meet the vast, open sky, the story of Zawadi continues to inspire and teach. Her legacy lives on in the hearts of those who hear her tale, a beacon of hope and wisdom for all who seek to balance the dreams with the reality of each precious moment. The end.
Thanks for watching. For more content, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment on this video.